It's a wonderful story, Providence House. It's a story of women empowering women and helping them become their best selves. And it started so simply when a group of our sisters, Sister Elaine, our foundress, and 3 other sisters opened up their home to women who had no place to go, women coming from prison as well as homeless families. And from that simple vision, with a mission grounded in hospitality, compassion, nonviolence, we began.
In my 20s, I started going to prison. I was a street worker, and that was how I survived. I was arrested for a parole violation, and it was to be my last arrest, and I was pregnant. It just didn't seem that me by myself was worth turning my life around. But it was Sister Elaine Rouleau's that was my spark of hope. She asked me one question. She said, "What would you be willing to do?" I'd do anything to keep my son. And I didn't know how hard that road was going to be then, but without the support of Sister Elaine Rouleau and then coming out and going to Providence House with my son, we walked out of prison together. I'm a different person today.
In 2012, I was arrested. I had family members that were staying with me, and unfortunately, they left the drugs in my home. I didn't know the legal system as I do now, and when they offered me a deal of 2 years, I was convinced that they were gonna give me more, so I took the 2 years. I think about it now, and it was hard. Life as I knew it was just gone. I'd heard about Providence House in prison. Everyone gave it rave reviews, so I thought first that, oh my goodness, I'll never get in there. If everybody knows about it and it's so good, they won't have a place for me. I called the number in the book. They told me, okay, well, let me give you the address, where to go. And I'm like, okay, so am I going there to see someone for like an intake? And she said, pack your stuff, you're going. And I just cried. I've been in Providence House ever since.
Well, I first moved in with a significant other, which was actually her father. And we had a real bad falling out, and I just wasn't comfortable because I felt that I had so much more to offer my daughter. And once I moved out, it was, it's terrifying. Coming into the shelter system is terrifying. There's nothing you can say or there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself. As soon as I walked in, the woman she basically sat with me and she just told me, she was like, this is not where it ends. And I was like, you know what? I can't believe I'm here. This is like the worst thing that can happen. And I cried, and she just rubbed my shoulder and she told me, she said, you know what? You're not gonna stop here. If you stop here, that's on you. That's something you do. So I took her advice.
Growing up for me, I grew up in institutions. I really didn't have parents. It was an institution for children, I guess children who were abandoned. And I lived there until I was about 13 or 14. And at that time, I was transferred to New York to a group home. And that's when I was introduced to drugs. And I was a drug addict for the majority of my life. I gave birth to Ashantiwa, and I was incarcerated, and I was unable to be with her for the first couple of years of her life. I promised myself and I promised my daughter that I would never live the type of life that I lived again, that I would be clean and sober one day at a time for the rest of my life. It's either you live life or you go right back where you came from. And for me, coming out of prison, the first apartment that I had was in a building where they had urine in the hallway, people smoked marijuana, they sold drugs in the building. So it was like an everyday task, staying clean and sober. So when I got the opportunity to get out of the building, I did. I went to a place called Women's Prison Association, and they helped me get to Providence House.
Well, Providence House, I was thinking about that, is we say house, but really it's home. It's sanctuary. It's a place of safety where women and children can come to, and no matter what choices they made or didn't make or are going to make during their lifetime, it's a place of welcome.
We run transitional housing programs for women and families. We also run permanent supportive housing, and each of those programs have underneath them case management services, which includes employment services, housing services. We provide childcare to our mothers, and all of these pieces help us help the women move on with their lives, get the skills they need so they can go back and get their own homes and reacclimate back into the community.
Providence House helped ease my transition from prison by just giving me a home setting.
Whether they're in prison or some of them have been in the shelter system, they learn to trust again other people.
The other women are great. They are great. We get along so well. We are a family. We laugh together. We watch TV together.
You know, I look at myself and I look at the challenges that I've had on my personal journey, and they could nowhere compare to some of the challenges that these women have faced. And I just stand in awe of what they're able to do.
Providence House gave me the opportunity to raise my children. I was able to come out of prison with one son, receive another child back from foster care, and go to school, receive my master's degree in social work. You can make it after prison, and that prison is the experience. It's not the person.
I've been clean now going on 12 years. I don't drink, I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm happy. I have my children. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to be a mom, to wake up every morning, to cook breakfast, to give them baths every night before they go to bed, to do their homework with them, and just be a large part of their lives. It's wonderful. Coming from where I've come from, traveling the roads that I've traveled, I'm very, very lucky. I'm very lucky.
I went to college. I was like, you know what? I'm going to college. And they were able to actually accommodate my school schedule. Providence House helped me. You know, I was encouraged here. I was pushed here to make sure that I had the self-confidence to be able to go out there after Providence House. It was so amazing. Everything I am today is because of Providence House. That is without a doubt.
And we've now grown to almost 10 locations now. Our 10th location will open up this year. But there is such a dire need to provide services to the women and children that work with us. Government funding is dwindling. We fundraise 40% of our budget each year, so donors can help us continue to serve these women, to help them get back on their feet again.
I was always this person, but I think that when a person is given an opportunity to have a space where they can be that and see that it's safe to do that outside of that space, then you can do anything and you can be anything, and all of the things that you think about can happen.